Well, Jim, it's really hard to record because I don't know if we're in the show. Are we in the show?
We are in the show. This is the Jupiter Boys. My name is Jim Jupiter.
And my name is Quinn Jupiter, and we haven't done this for a while
That's correct. Yeah.
because we just didn't want to.
Uh
We had the
yeah.
opportunity.
That's also fairly correct. To be honest, we had ample opportunities.
Oh
We
yeah.
even have an episode recorded that I've just been like tremendously lazy about and haven't edited because it's just like, I mean, well, fuck it, like just fuck it,
Well,
like
shit.
I
Like,
don't know,
yeah.
like I have to just like lit. I'm encased in a box 24 hours a day, and
Yeah.
it's just like, do I want to spend those free hours doing anything other than binge watching Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul for the 800th time? No, I don't. I don't want to do that. We're a
I am
show.
real.
We're two boys. We're
Yes.
from the planet Jupiter, and
Yeah.
each week we get together and we have, one of those silly conversations.
One of the silly ones you've heard of so much about.
Yeah, just so that you don't have to have that conversation. You can
Mhm.
you can say, you know what? I've heard the logical direction that conversation takes, and it's not for me.
I'm
Um,
going to have an actual intellectual conversation with another human being
I'm
instead
glad
of
I didn't say those. I'm glad
two
I didn't say
smorchy
those
boys,
stupid things.
two smorchy boys just yelling at each other's faces. So let's do that,
Talking
Jim.
over each other. I'm gonna flip the coin of truth. It's a coin that decides who goes first in the topicathon. Quinn, would you like the logo side or the writing side?
I would like the rating side, please.
Okay, it's gonna be the logo side.
Oh, that's
Which is
good.
good.
That's good.
It's good because you barely have a topic. So Quinn, this week,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
I want to know. So the other day, Quinn and I met up in person for a family event,
Yes.
and we evented with the family. And as we were
hmm
leaving, Quinn said to me as he was getting into his car, "We have to do a podcast this week, or our show is dead."
I do remember.
He said that
saying
exactly, and so Quinn also
I gave
forgot.
him I gave him an ultimatum.
Yeah, he gave
It
me an
means
ultimatum. And Quinn was actually banking on me forgetting that we were going to do a podcast, or just
just so
like
that
canceling, just bailing.
this show could just be euthanized.
Yeah, Quinn
Just-
Quinn legitimately tried to put the nail in this show's coffin, but I just wouldn't let that happen.
No, he
And
was resilient in his efforts, and I really condemn. I really,
you really
I was gonna
condemned.
say praise him, but then I
It
say
just
condemn.
came out. You couldn't even muster the ability to say, like, I like that I get to hang out with my brother once a week. You were just like, no, this has got to end. This somebody has to put a stop to this, and it's gonna be
Well,
me.
to be fair, we
To be
have actually
fair.
been getting. To be fair, we have been actually getting together in person. And the problem with us getting together in person is a lot of the times we don't want to do the podcast when we're in person because we only have a certain amount of time together,
Yeah,
and we don't want to waste it talking over each
we
other.
generally just get high and watch movies we've seen before. That's
Yep.
usually our trajectory when we do.
Yeah,
When we do get
or
together.
The Office, which is just a staple in your household. I mean, it's just
The
always
Office
on.
is on a television in my house approximately 75% of the time.
I would say that.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm not even.
I would
I'm
say
not
that's
even.
good numbers.
I don't even think that's like an exaggerated number. I
No, I
say
think
like
that's like accurate.
The Office is on in my house the majority of the time.
75% of the time.
Yeah.
It's just like Game of Thrones is usually on. Well, lately it's been on. Just because I've just been mustering my way through that and I finished the audiobooks finally. And now my opinion has changed. The books are better than the show.
Yeah, they're significantly better.
Significantly
It's
better.
it's like it's not. That's not even a question. I mean, the
It's
show
not
is
even a
very good
competition.
up until
The
like
show
a
is very
certain
good.
point, and then it shits the
Yeah.
bed. But
Yeah.
and it doesn't even shit the bed till like pretty late.
No.
Like, I would say, like,
Yeah,
even the
exactly.
second last season, like even season 7 is
It was pretty solid. It's pretty solid.
yeah.
I mean, the writing's terrible. The talking is so awkward, but it's almost like they just stopped writing the way they were writing, and they were like, "All right, we gotta wrap this shit up. Let's just make
Yeah,
everybody
I feel-
do make choices that wouldn't fit the character." Doesn't make a lot
Yeah,
of sense
I definitely
to me.
feel like it was a rushed decision right at the end. Like, a lot of shit was just rushed and forced together.
Yeah,
Um,
because they wanted to write Star Wars, and then they ended up getting their Star Wars movie canceled. Like, way to go, guys.
Way to go, guys. So yeah,
What's your
my
topic, Jim?
topic basically is based on, thrown in the towel. When do
Okay,
you
quitting.
know? When do you know when to quit? Okay, first of all, have you ever
Yeah.
quit from a job? Because I have, and I've done so spectacularly. But
I mean, I've only quit for a job when I have another job lined up.
okay, but how
But
do you
I mean,
how do you
yes.
go about the quitting process? Have you ever done like a quit with
A
flair?
fuck you, quit. I've never done a fuck you quit. I did one time. I had a job at a very particular food place. They make food
Okay.
in I can't say this in large quantities.
Okay.
Let's say.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yes.
I know
So
which company you're working for. But
so
you
I got
were
a
to
job
be okay.
that was
But
yeah, it was a
but
labor job.
let's peek behind the kimono. Let's pull back the curtain on this man behind with the
Okay.
lever.
Yeah.
And just be like very clear. You were very bad at this job.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you were spectacularly bad at this job. Like
hmm
basically immediately and permanently, you were just very bad at this job.
Yeah, I could say that's pretty accurate. I was pretty bad at it. I didn't really like it. I wasn't. The problem was I had to lift a lot of heavy stuff, and at that point, my body hadn't filled out enough to do so. So
Okay.
I was just lifting immense weights, and my back was just giving out all the time, and I was just not strong enough. And then I went on to do more physical jobs. And if I went back to the job I had back then, I would probably kill it now. I'd probably just that would be a simple job for me.
So this
But
job, which involved you moving like large quantities of food, name some of the things that you did that were perhaps not.
strenuous.
No, no, not even that. But some of the ways that you shit the bed at this job.
I mean, I didn't really shit the bed too bad. I mean, in the first couple weeks we had some like bad spills and stuff like that.
Right. You
Especially when
spilled
you're
large
filling up.
quantities of food.
Yeah, when you're filling up the totes
bins.
or whatever they have it, the bins, you have to kind of be very good at balancing it. And it wasn't even like it wasn't even like I spilled it right away. It was like I spilled it because the flour would just go and it would just go all into your face, and you're like, oh. And you just like have to go to the back and just like wipe yourself off, and somebody would be like in the back on their break.
Yourself.
Yeah, somebody be on their break and they'd be like, "Oh, you got floured, did you?" And you're like, "Yeah, got floured. I got floured real good." Um, another bad part. I mean, the job was just terrible in general. I wasn't that bad at it. I just didn't like it very much. And one of the worst parts was like when people spilled quinoa, which I used to pronounce as quinoa. Um, So I'd be like, "Oh shit, I'm putting the Quinn in quinoa. What's up?" And then they were like, "That's quinoa, Quinn." And I was like, "Oh, that makes sense."
I'm putting the Quinn in quinoa.
I'm putting the Quinn in quinoa in quinoa. Quinoa.
Quinoa.
Quinoa's arc. So quinoa is very hard to because it's almost like a beady type thing. Especially there's different types of quinoa. But it's kind of like beady, and it's just impervious to brooms. Like you try to sweep it up, and it just goes.
It just bounces. Yeah.
It just
So
squirts out of your broom.
When did you know that job wasn't for you?
Pretty early on.
Like,
I just
like
it
an
was
hour
it was it was like it was a source of income.
Would
So
you
I
say it
mean,
was on the
I
first
toughed
day?
it out. No, I'd say like probably by the end of training.
Which was how
probably
long?
like the first week. I mean, we spent a week training, and then we spent because we were like we opened up the store. So we spent a week training, and then we went on to do like actual busy work, and it was stupid busy for like the first
well, because it was you were opening the place, like it was the
2
grand opening.
months. Yeah,
You had
for
people
the first like
stomping
2
in
months.
to get your discount quantities.
Oh, it was disgusting. It was just too many people, and I was like, "This sucks ass." So I just unceremoniously stopped showing up to work, which I to this day feel really bad about.
That's the
And they
worst
like
way to
gave
quit.
me they gave me a call and they were like, I guess you don't work here anymore. But other people did that. Like, as there was a guy in our training who literally the first day of training, he walked over to the construction site, shook a guy's hand, and got a job there. Like, he put on a safety vest and a hard hat and went to work for them. And
Across
we were
the
just
street.
like, okay. And they were like, yeah, so I guess he's not coming back. He gave us a phone call, said he's working for the construction company. I was like, hey man, you're playing the field, you're keeping your options open. I respect it, you know?
Oh, that's so great. But so I've had the dramatic quit,
walkout.
which is immensely satisfying. Like,
Oh
so
yeah, I know about your dramatic.
yeah, like, and it wasn't
walkouts.
like I didn't like throw a hissy fit. I didn't swear at anybody. I didn't like. I just said I quit and I walked out the door. And it's like, even that. Oh my god, when I felt
man,
I had
I'm
like
thinking
I had
about-
a half chub for like 6 days, like just 6
I'm
days.
thinking about
straight.
that for my new job because I'm so done with it. I don't want to be there anymore. And I'm thinking about just doing that because
The
they're
only thing
already
is you
laying
don't
off a
get
bunch
it.
of people.
You don't get like a very good reference if you do that, right?
That's true. That's true.
If you need the reference, you gotta just stick it out.
Although I've only spent a year at the company I'm at, and I spent 5 years at the previous company, which would give me great references. So
I've also had to quit a
none-
company that I really liked just because there was like a better job. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like,
yeah,
and that sucked because I really liked my boss and my coworkers. And I was like, hey, so you guys are great. It's not you, it's me.
it's like a breakup, right? You know,
Kinda like I was
Um,
like really like quite nervous to tell my boss. You know.
So I didn't particularly quit this way, but my friend, a friend that I've
Quickly,
talked
4
about
seconds.
extensively on the show, he wrote his 2 weeks notice on a piece of toilet paper, like a long piece of toilet paper, and it was like written as a poem,
Nice.
and it was
That's the
it
end
was
of the
very
topic. The
it was eloquent.
I know somebody who quit in the proper channels, like gave us 2 weeks notice, and then on his final
Yeah.
day of work, just spent the entire day doodling a drawing in the public bathroom of the store owner, like getting reamed by capitalism while he like butt fucked like his employees or something like that. Like it was like
I know exactly who that is.
yeah,
too.
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I definitely know this, and this is very in character for this person.
It's so in character. All right, I'm just gonna get this this bowl filled
Yeah,
up
so
here.
this is the point in the show. It's called. You usually cue me up for this, but
Do you want me to sing
it's
it?
called. Oh no, sure, yeah. Let's get you to sing it
It's
this
funny
time.
because you like we're launching into your like traditional like pseudo Michael Jackson mid-show smoke break song. So it's time for the mid-show smoke break, yeah, baby.
Yep, that's true. I'm gonna do. Shall I do it first now?
Go ahead, do it while I keep the audience talking. I mean, not talking, but listening, because what they're listening to is my sultry tone underneath that bubbly noise, which is your bong, and I hear the bong filters out to bad shit. It's probably not true at all. It probably
That's done.
concentrates it.
Probably. Oh, definitely. I find my throat hurts a lot more.
Okay, why don't you keep talking about that while I smoke this pipe?
So I found I get a little phlegmy when I smoke a bong, which is gross. And something should never be said on a podcast. Oh,
You get
or
Flemish.
out. Yeah, I get Flemish. I get. Is there like a famous historian named Flemish, or is that Fleming?
Well, there's
It's probably
definitely
Fleming.
Flemings.
So the thing is between bongs and pipes is that pipes, they burn your lungs a little bit. You know, you get like it's just a little hot.
In your
But
mouth.
at
too,
the
a
same
little
time, yeah, the mouth you really taste it a lot more too. Bongs, you definitely taste it sometimes. Other weeds, you don't really taste it, or it's like a nice taste.
bit. Okay, what
which
do you
I
got
like.
for us this week, Quinn, with your topic? Because I'm done with smoking now.
This week I wanted to step into Quinn's questions about movies. I don't know what round it is, but I'm gonna come up with all these questions on my head because I didn't come with a topic. That was a roundabout song. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that one.
That was it's
That
because
was
you didn't
something.
get to do this mid-show smoke break. It was just like pent up, like it was like a sneeze. It had to come out, and it came
Yeah, it
out
did.
in just a terrible, terrible Like
It
we've
was-
we've
it was
established that Quinn's questions about movies is like a very different intro song, and it
Right.
always ends with Quinn's questions about movies is filmed in front of a live studio audience. That's our studio audience. His name is Gerald. Thank you, Gerald, for being here as always.
I love you guys. We love you too, Gerald.
Thank you, Gerald.
Please keep coming to our shows because you're the only reason that we're keeping it going. This episode, Jim, I wanted to ask you one particular cast question I was thinking about while I was pooping
Okay.
before the show.
It makes me uncomfortable that you think about me while you're pooping.
I mean, I think about a lot of things when I'm pooping, Jim, and it's not weird. It's just pooping thoughts.
It's funny because if I didn't think about things when I'm pooping, I would get no thinking done at all. Like, I'm just
Right?
pooping more or less constantly. I feel like
you got to get some of your best thoughts out while you're pooping.
I feel like my job as an adult has just become to poop as much as I possibly can. Like, I feel like that is like my body's new prime directive is to just push out as much waste as I possibly can.
The thing about that is I get nervous in public when I try to poo now. And that's a thing that hadn't happened when I was younger. I used to poo everywhere,
You get
man.
nervous in public about pooping?
Certain places.
Okay.
Especially if it's like a gross, dirty bathroom, I don't really want to poop there.
Yeah, well, that's just more about preference.
Okay, this we're veering wildly off topic.
But
when I was thinking,
why don't you take this escape rope that I've thrown you and like go down this
we
rabbit
talk about
hole a
pooping
little bit?
thoughts or poop thoughts instead of Quinn's questions about movies?
How you're afraid to poop in bathrooms. This is a rich nugget that we just tapped into.
Well, certain gross bathrooms. I mean, I try to poop at work as much as I can, or
yeah,
I don't really try to poop as much.
If you don't poop at work, you're like, what the fuck are you doing? You're getting paid to poop. That is a paid poop right there. That's an endorsed. And that's like a sponsored poop.
The thing is, my anxiety takes over, and I feel like I'm taking too long to poop, and I feel like when I get back, everyone's gonna know that I took a poop, and that makes me self-conscious. You know, like I've always been self-conscious about how long I spend in the bathroom because I'm like, oh man, I'm not even really pooping this whole time.
Right.
I'm just browsing on my phone. But
right.
Everybody's going to think, oh man, he took a 30-minute poop. Man, that's got to be a hearty poop.
Definitely don't ever take a full 30 minutes to poop. That's an insane amount of time.
The most I've ever spent is like 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay,
that's
a long, hearty one. That's a battle.
Yeah.
That's one where you have to wrestle it out of
you. That's the one where you gotta like put your hands on both the stalls and kind of like you're in the garbage disposal scene in Star Wars.
It's something that happens to you more than something that you let happen.
You're sweating and you feel like the walls are closing in. Like
your vision starts to go black. This is like horrible things. If you experience any of these, seek a medical professional immediately.
So I think I'm going to return to
sure. What's your first question about movies in this segment that we've
today?
Derailed?
I wanted to ask you something.
Okay.
And it's important.
You don't know what you're going to ask.
Would you rather have a Office movie or an Office like reunion special like they did with Parks and Rec, which I have not seen, but I've seen clips of. It seemed pretty funny.
It seemed okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it either. I'm not really interested in seeing it, to be honest. And to be totally honest, like I will only pick one because I can't. Neither of the options is neither. Like I don't want either of those things to happen. To be honest, I would hate for there to be an Office movie. I think it would like demean the whole concept of the show, which was that it was like a mockumentary for like this period of time that like was capturing like
But what if they did like life. What if they did like sort of like a Wet Hot American Summer 10 years later and they kind of did
they did with the British version and it sucked.
Really?
Yeah, it sucked. It sucked a lot. Like because it was like because I don't know if you've heard this, but Jim and Pam were supposed to break up.
Yeah, you could see that in the show. They wanted to do that, and then they were like, you know what? Scrap that.
Yeah, well, they had to have a happy ending, right? It's, like it's kind of silly. And like in the British version, I'm pretty sure they did break up. Like they dated for a little while and then they broke up. And like
right.
Or she.
I know
or
who
she
Pam
ended up
who
marrying...
plays Pam too. She's from Extras.
Yeah, she's from Extras. She's
Extras.
From Wonder Woman. She's in.
She's fucking phenomenal in Wonder Woman.
She's in Shaun of the Dead.
Oh yeah,
she's the friend. Yeah, Um, and
She's great, and then Martin
and
Freeman
then
is
Martin
of course
Freeman. Yeah.
Jim.
So, but like I think like in the British one, like it turned out that they dated for a while, but then she ended up getting back together with the original guy or something. Like they ended up being
Oh,
like
lame.
getting married. It was
Oh, imagine
shitty.
if she married Roy. Oh God.
Yeah, right. Like it just
Imagine if
changes
she
the tone
married
of the
Roy.
show entirely. So
I actually just recently was watching the storyline. Spoiler. If you haven't watched The Office, go watch The Office. What are you
yeah,
fucking
like it's
doing?
been like 15
It's
years. Go fuck
you
yourself.
seriously. Yeah. No more spoilers. I mean, so I was watching the storyline where Pam gets her mural graffitied by that warehouse guy,
Yeah,
and Boom Mike douchebag, fucking comes in. Russ Hanneman right there,
yeah.
fucking
His
comes
name
in.
in the show is
Richard?
nope. It's
No.
goddamn.
Henry?
Nope. It's not Henry.
God damn that might be a question on our office trivia that we have coming up with
Brian.
Mike Fallick.
His name is Brian.
Brian. That was the next one I was gonna guess.
Brian the
was
boom guy.
Brian. Yeah, because I hate that scene where she's like, I just have no one, and then he bonks her on the head, and you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Brian. Nobody
Get
likes
out of
you.
here, Brian. You're no Jim.
Get the fuck out of here. You're no Jim. You can't make extremely charming looks at the camera.
If you didn't know, I think we've mentioned this before, but Mike Fallick and I are going to have an office trivia like round off, like
It's going
showdown.
to be
epic.
It's
gonna be epic. Quinn, you have to find like the most obscure questions, just so you
Oh,
know.
I'm gonna go.
In order to stump me,
this,
you have to go pretty deep on the office trivia, and you have to confirm that it's true too. You can't just like take some like random internet nonsense.
No. I will find like actual trivia, but I'll try to like. First of all, the first thing I'm gonna do is just like comb the IMDb trivia page, because there's gonna be some stuff about like certain things that like you would have to watch the show over and over to get, right?
Okay, yeah.
So like stuff like that.
I also
sorry.
want to point out that we should do it in a style that like when you ask a question, we both write down our answers and then show the answers, so that it's not like speed round, because like just with the lag of the internet, it might kill me. Because I'm in like a small town.
Oh yeah, like even like typing the answer to me in the chat and then sending it, and I get both your answers.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, because then we don't have to like show our show the write things down and stuff like that. So the next question, Jim. The next questione is if you had to live in a horror franchise for the rest of your life,
okay,
and that's all you gotta, like, you have to survive, I mean, for as long as you want, I guess.
Okay.
If you got a death wish, you can be in. But which horror franchise would you like to live in for the rest of your life?
Is there any rules about what constitutes a franchise?
I mean, no. Like if it's just like a one-off, like a Babadook style. Yeah, you can pick the Babadook. You know, like just like a horror movie universe, right?
Okay.
So, do you want to hear my pick?
Okay. Did you just ask this question so you could give an answer yourself? Is that what Quinn's question is?
No. I'm gonna give you time to stew, but okay. I wanted to give you mine.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna live in the Midsummer world, and it's gonna be a nightmare dreamscape, but at least it'll be pretty, and there'll be like a lot of Swedish people around. So
you aren't even gonna believe this. That was like the first thing that came to my mind was the Midsummer world, because it's like, well, at least it's summertime and there's like hot blonde people everywhere.
Plus, if you're respectful, you're gonna get along just fine. If you're just on their level about like the sacrifice, you're just cool with the sacrifices, fucking you're well off, man.
But it only
just
happens like every like 19 years or something.
Yeah, and it's like the elderly too. They're like, well, if you're 47, you gotta die.
If you're super old, you gotta go over the cliff. Sorry,
it's not even that old. It's like 47, and it's like, what's this arbitrary age?
No, it's older than 47.
I think it. Oh yeah, it's like
they're way old, dude. Like the people that die are like super old. Like they're soups old, like 70 or 80 years old.
Definitely soups old. So you're gonna go with Midsummer as well?
Fuck yeah, and that's the end of the topic. We actually went over on that topic. You were only able to get like 2 questions in, and we still fucked it up.
The public pooping is good. I mean,
Yeah. Well, we needed to know. The audience has a right to know. So we've been the Jupiter Boys. Thank you to Christo Graham for the use of our theme music.
thank you, Christo.
We're part of the Dolphin Shark Network, which includes shows such as Dave Franco's Dream Boys, but we don't talk about them. And Durf and Dietz, who are two boys out in
Yep.
Eastern Canada. They haven't put out an episode in a while, but I mean, who has? So go check those guys out. They got a nice long back catalog.
We hope those boys are doing great.
Yeah, hopefully.
And, tweet at those boys and tweet at us.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at the Jupiter Boys.
And I'm at Quinn Jupiter.
And you can go to thejupiterboys.com, and then you can shoot those nuts
straight down that gullet of yours.
With Dolphin Shark.